Hello and welcome. In this video, we are going to build a simple contacts application. Um, and it is going to have a registration page, a login page, and once you log in, you can create, um, your contacts. Like, you can save it's going to be similar to like a contacts application on your phone. And the purpose of this video is like we're not going to use any framework or any like third-party packages. We're just going to do it in vanilla, or I think it's called core PHP. So let's get started. So the first thing that we're going to do, so I have this empty folder here in my document root. So if we like go to, so it's contacts app. So if I go here, right? So it's an empty folder right now. So we're going to create an index.php file, right? So, so this is going to basically host like a landing page. So let's say um, contacts app. And let's get a heading here. Welcome to your contacts application. And let's add a paragraph here. So run, and let's add two buttons here, three links. One is going to go to login.php and say login, and the other is going to go to register.php and say register. All right, so let's take a look at how this is looking. So I can register. So another thing I want to do before we move any further is I want to pull in Bootstrap. So let's go to bootstrap.com, and I'm going to pull it in via a CDN. So if you like go to docs, and it should be yeah, I think it should be here. Or we could just do this. Yeah, I think this is better. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to paste this here and move the title and the body content. Right. So we want to keep this script here. All right. So let's get rid of all of this. And so one thing that is wrong here in this is that this is using a two space padding and this is complete for four. So let's do this. Same event using tabs, and let's say two. So to keep it consistent, I will go there. Right. So let's refresh and see how it's looking now. Okay. So we can actually put this in a container. Record container. Push it in from the sides a little bit, and let's add a margin to 4. Right. So let's make these buttons. So we're going to and classes for that. So, right. So this is I think looking reasonable. And let's go and create the login and register pages. I'm going to go here. Actually, let's create a new folder called off, and let's put these in there. So I'm going to create a new file called login.php and file register.php. Okay. So what I want to do now is I want to, so since this part is going to be like, stay consistent, so we can move this into like a partial and, you know, just, chain this part. So let's do this. I'm going to cut it. I'm going to say include, no, not include like that. So that's a syntax. So you're going to see me do this a lot. So we include, and we'll say partials and slash header, right? And let's create that. So I'm going to create a new folder called partials and say header.php. Okay, let's paste that. And let's take this and say php include partials slash footer. Right? And let's indent it back to the way it was. Okay, and going to partials, say footer php. Let's put the footer here. Okay, so if you refresh now, fail to open stream, no such file or directory. Okay, so partials. Yeah, I think you're supposed to give extensions here. Okay, so that's looking better. And what we can do now is we can actually go to header, not header, inside our login, and we can include. So we can just do php include. I'm not sure we can. Let's try it and see if this works. So let's do header.php and footer.php, and let's test. Check something. So if you go to login, okay, so I think I did not update the paths and index. So let's go here and update those as well. Let's go off slash. Okay, let's go back, refresh, login. Fields of a string, no such file or directory. Okay, so what we need to do, if we are inside here, we need to go up a directory and then go inside that one. So if we refresh, yeah, well, that's working. So let's copy. We're going to create a heading here, right? So let's say login. And actually, before we do login, let me do register first, because that is the first step. Okay, so we're going to do register. Okay, let's do a horizontal rule, and let's create a home. So let's say, actually, let's do this, and then we'll see if we got it. So we're just going to have a method, and we're going to say it's going to submit to a file called create user.php, right? Let's do div.form dash group and label form label, and this is going to be for first name. Okay. And let's create the input form control. And it's going to have the same ID as the label. So when you click the label, it's going to get focus. This field is going to be focused, right? So and the name is going to be also first name. Right. So let's see if this is looking the way we want it to look. No, actually, we need to go to register here. Okay, so yeah, I think it's all a bit too big. So let's shrink it down. So let's say div.row and pull sm6 and offset sm3. I think that's the correct way because I keep changing. Yeah, I think it's correct. So the first name. Now let's do it again for last name. Okay. So let's say last name. Let's update this last name. Okay. And we're not going to have too many fields. We're just going to have email. And set email. And just set the type to email as well. Let's do it one more time. And here we're going to do it for password. Right. And another one for confirm password. Let's say confirm password. in the end, we're going to this video says horizontal wall, add a button, and it's going to be submit button. So it's going to say sign up. Let's give it a class begin memory. And let's add a link here to go back to the home page. So let's make it a default, and let's say that it should go to the index. It should go to um, um, so if you want to go back there, so it needs to go to here, right? So you can either pass the I think we're going to have to do a little bit of calculation here. So let me just quickly go up here and do some PHP. So let's see, because we do need the path. Because if I do it like this, so it's going to. I mean, it might work on a production server, but the way we're developing, I have this, this context path, and I think it's just going to skip that over. So if I go and put everything in here, so I'm going to say cancel. Okay. So if I do this, so it's going to go to index.php, which does not exist. All right. So we want to preserve this path. Okay. So this should be our base URL, and we should append index.php to that. Right. And if I do not add this slash, then it's going to go a little bit more weird. So if you say cancel, okay, so it's going to go to index.php inside auth, which is also not what we want. So I'm going to var done and $_server, right, and refresh. This is not readable. Let's see what we have. So we're looking for request_URL. Yep, this is actually this is the referrer. It's going to be different. So this is where we're coming from, right? So let me just say HTTP to highlight. So this is the only one. So maybe it's $_request. Okay. That's empty. So this is the super global that we're looking for. So this is the host, and so I guess well, what we can do is I thought we could do it this way, but we can do it another way as well, which is inside of our header.php. Should I do that there? Yeah, so let's create a functions file, right? And I'm going to create a new folder and say helpers, right? And let's say helpers, say UI.php. So the UI helpers. Let's create a file here and let's say function, say base URL. Right? And so we can just change this when we change the environment. So yeah, it's not ideal, but we have to do this. So let's say this, and let's say $_server and dot. So let's see what was the variable in there. It's HTTP host. Right? So we can say the host, the context app, and so this is the base URL, and we can just append on whatever we want. So what we want to do is we want to have this file everywhere. So let's go to our header. I think that will be a good place to put it. Otherwise, if we find like a better place, then we'll do it down there that way. So let's say header, and say require once and it's going to be, yeah, so we go up a step, helpers slash UI.php, and I think we should be good. Now we can use this UI function, this URL function inside of our register. So we say, um, so this is the PHP, this is equivalent to PHP echo. So it's a case URL. Okay, we got this. Then we say dot. Actually, we don't need to do that because this is going to work just fine. Do we have a trailing slash here? Yeah, we do. So like if we refresh now, and if we take a look at cancel now, it's going to the correct path. Why is it not going up? So we have href here, ATM default. Why is it not working? Let's refresh. It's going to context app, index.php. Is it? Could it be the button class? It's a secondary. So it's not that. Let's see the network tab and check what's going on. So look at the console. So you do not have a protocol there, right? So let's dump that variable again, which was php and var dump or underscore server. And let's see, host is localhost port. All right, so we do need to like put the protocol inside of there. So if we go to our UI.php, I would like to put HTTP and colon slash slash. But okay, now what we should do is like these should come from like an environment variable or something. But for now, this is fine. Just to like not waste time to keep going. Filter constraint message file or directory. Okay, so this is a little bit problematic because when we are in header.php and we're saying that we want to include helpers slash UI, it works in case of auth, right? So it basically tries to include that file relative to where the original file is. So this is a little bit of a problem. Yeah, a little bit. So helpers UI goes. So this is the include path. Sorry, this is the include path. So it's the current folder, right? And yeah, so the current folder is. So what we can do here is, okay, so let's do this. So php require from the directory URL. Okay, we use a magic function called dir. When we reference dir inside a file, it returns the directory of the file. The dir doesn't include a trailing slash, for example. So if you we the following directory structure in footer, header, index. So the footer.php contains the code and the footer part shows the value of dir constant. It So header it's web. In case of okay, so I think this is the similar problem that we're having, and we can actually like if you go to header, and if you do this, and this, right? But let's echo this out to see what we're getting inside of header. So if you like do this, echo. Okay, so I think we need to put an echo here. Oh, the semicolon. I might refresh. So it's var.remove partial. So it's always going to give this, right? And once we are here inside of partial, we just go up by directory and inside of outputs and inside of UI. So that's good. Yeah. So we hit a problem and solve it. So it's going to work for all the pages, right? And we can go back and forth. So this is good. Now, why is it showing this? Register, yeah, because of this. Let's say password. Right. So now that we are here, let's get started with, um, actually submitting this form. And, we're going to do some validation on the server side, but let's do some here to make them required. I've already added the type email. So we're not going to delve too deep into like how to validate stuff in PHP. I do have a video on it if you want to take a look at that. It's on my channel. I think it's Form Validation in Vanilla PHP or Core PHP, something like that. That's the title. So, so we have this. Now let's go to create underscore user.php. So if we go into auth, we can create a new user, create underscore user.php, and let's do this. Okay. So what we're going to do now is um, so let's just dump if we get the input. Let's say dollar underscore post, right? And let's refresh. Click sign up. So it says first name. I do have a form filling, plugin. So what it does is, so it does this last name, this. So we got all the inputs, right? Now let's try and create this user, right? So we are going to do some validation here. So let's say that let's just because we have the required. So let's just say that these are enough, right? So let's just assume that and just go here and let's just check that the password and confirm password match, right? So we'll do So that's if is set color underscore post password and not empty color underscore post password, right? So if is set color underscore post confirm password and not empty color underscore post confirm password, right? And then we'll say password equals color underscore post password and password. Actually, I like to name my PHP variables in camel case, so let's do this. Password. Yeah, so we're doing the parentheses here. And let's say if password is equals to confirm password, then we're good to go. So we'll say echo data client. Right, so let's see if we get this. We forgot semicolon there. Okay, let's refresh. The same data wallet. Okay, let's go back and just change this a little bit. And we're getting nothing. Right, so let's say die here. Otherwise, if you go down here, we'll say echo invalid. So if you don't know, the die basically stops execution at that point. So it's saying invalid. Let's go back and let's put 9 here. Say same data valid. Right. So let's say if it is valid, you can actually do stuff here, but I think it will be better if we put this in a function. Yeah. So let's go into UI. Not UI. Let's go into this helpers and say validation for PHP. So I'm going to create a function here called validate passwords. Right, and let's pass in the data. It's going to have, let's name this a little bit better so we can see it. Is password valid, right? And it's going to return Boolean. And what we can do now is we can actually move all of this right into this validation method or function, should I call it. And if this is true, then we're going to return true. Otherwise, we're just going to return false, right? So we can simply require that file here. We can say require. And where is it? So we're going to go up a level inside helpers slash validation.php. Let's say is password valid. And we're going to pass in the data color underscore post. And let's say if password is valid, then we can do code OK. Otherwise, we can say code not OK. Let's refresh, saying OK. Right, so let's deal with the not OK part. What we want to do, we want to return this back to the register page. So let's say header location index.php. Right? But again, we want to have a, so we want to import the UI helper, the base URL one, and we can say, so let's look at this, we'll do it this way. Let's say base URL dot slash auth slash registry.php. Right. And if we refresh, go back, change it a little bit. So unsupported operand types plus. Yep. So we use dot for concatenation. So we come back here, but we're not getting any input here or like feedback here. So what we can do is, if we do this, we can actually set a key in the session, right? So let's we can actually do this inside of our header, right? Um, let's start a session, in our header, right? So let's do PHP session underscore start. So every view file is going to have a access to the session superglobal, which is the dollar underscore session variable. But these, since these are more like controllers, so we're going to have to do this manually here. So we're going to have session underscore start, and here we'll say dollar underscore session, and say errors, and say the two passwords don't do not match. Right? And let's make this an array. So if we have to return more, then we can do so. Right. So this is the session that we're setting. So if we now go into our registry page, we can actually check if the session has that key. Right. So we can say if is set dollar underscore session, and what's the name of the key? Errors. And say and if, and here you can just create over the say for each or underscore session errors as error, and second for each, and it's actually be a UL, and so as it equals to alert danger. Let's put the end tag here, and let's do I actually make that say error. All right, so let's see if we can do this. So let's fill out the form, change the input a little bit. So it said the two passwords don't match. Right. So I think we should put this in a div around it because this doesn't have much padding. So let's say div dot alert danger, and let's put this around this. Let's try it. So now another problem is that this error is not going away. Right. So like if the user refreshes it, it should go away. Right. Okay, so what we can do is we can actually, like, once we have gone through the errors, we can set this. So we can say PHP pair errors. Okay, we only need to show them once, right? And we can put these. If we go into our header PHP, and let's put it in the UI and let's see if we can put that. Let's say dollar underscore session errors equals 2. Or we can actually do this. Unset dollar underscore session errors. Right. The function keyword here. Let's check the transform. Should make a habit of putting in the data types, return types, and the parameter types. Okay. Of course, like where we can, not everywhere. So I think this is going to work now because it went away. Another thing that is bothering me a little bit is that it doesn't retain the input that we added. Like if there's only one problem with the password, why does it not then retain everything else? So we can also do that, but yes, yeah, like we should do that. So let's do this. We say old inputs, right? And we can set the inputs here, right? And we can uh, go to register, and here we can, yeah, so we can actually check if there is an old input. So we say hp if is set. So let's say if is set dollar display session old inputs, and let's say first name, right? And if say value equals dollar underscore session old inputs first name. So let's just try this, see if it works. So let's fill the form in, change it a little bit, submit. So it's going to retain the first name, right? So let's keep doing this. Here it will be last name. Here it should be password. Sorry, it should be email. And yeah, it's generally not a good idea to like retain the password values, right? So we're going to actually using the wrong type. So it should be password and they should not be retained. So we're going to stick to that. And I'm thinking is should we clear old inputs after this? I think so. I think so. I think we should do it. So what we can do then is go into our UI and see clear old inputs. Okay? And say clear old inputs. And this one say the session old inputs. And then call it side of our register at the end. Actually, I think we should call it in footer. Um, yeah, I think that would be a good place to call it. So let's go here. Let's say clear old inputs. Right. So once if we refresh, those inputs should be gone. Perfect. So now let's add everything back. Okay. Let's just set it up. Okay, so we have okay now. Okay, so let's come back here and let's get started. So let's here we're going to set up a connection to our database, and to do that we need to um, so we're going to do that here, right? So okay, so let's go ahead into um, I use this tool called dbeaver, but you can use MySQL Workbench or whatever you want to use. So let's create our database. So I'm going to create a connection to my. So I'm going to create a connection to my database server, which is running inside of. Actually, I'm running it inside of a VM. So I'm going to establish a connection to that, and then I'm going to. Yeah, I'm going to create the database, and then I'm going to create the tables that we need. Okay, so let's. I'm gonna do create connection, and it's going to be a MySQL connection. And now maybe you're using PHP so you don't need to do this step, but you do need to like create a database for this if you're following along. Uh, Otherwise, if you want to like know how to set this up, like how to have a development environment. Like I'm on Windows, but my application is running on an Ubuntu virtual machine, right? So you can actually learn how to do that. I have a video on this on my channel where I set this environment up. Okay, so um, I'm not going to specify a database here, and I'm also the username is app user, and the password is the word password. So in order to get into the VM, I have to like create a tunnel, SSH tunnel, and it's going to be 127.0.0.1, and the SSH port that I forwarded to my Windows machine is 2255. Again, if you are running it on like a XAMPP or whichever way, you don't need to do all of this tunnel stuff. You just need to create a database. Everything else is going to stay the same. So the username is this, and the password for my virtual machine is this. So if we test the connection, I think it should work. So it's connected successfully. Right. So if we go back and here, I'm going to say this is my Ubuntu 22.4 MySQL. So let's finish this. So we got this here. I'm going to go and create, actually connect to this first. Okay. Inside of databases, I'm going to say create new database. I'm going to call it contacts. And so this is the database that we're going to use for our application. And inside of the contacts, I'm going to create a new table. Right. So let's add some columns here. So I'm going to say create new column. Okay, so it's going to be ID. Let's make it a big int. Auto increment. And yeah, so that's good. Let's create a new column. It's going to be the first name. I think this is fine. And it should be not null. Another column. The last name. Not null. All right. Not null. Email. Let's create a password. We're going to be storing password as MD5 strings, so we need to change this a little bit. So 100, let's say, let's make it 300. I don't think we need this much, but just to be on the safe side, just do this and click save. So this is the create statement. All right, so let's persist. Input table only one auto column and it must be defined as a key. Okay, so how do you change that? New column, edit it. Actually, I'm using this like after quite a long time, so I'm not really sure to do that. Okay, so implement. So this is ID. Mark it as primary key. Okay, so if you click save, right? So this is and primary key ID. Yeah, it should work now. Must be not null. Well, of course it's not null. It says going to be null. Okay, so yeah, it worked now. So I think it's not null here. Okay, so we've created this table, right? And yeah, I do not. So I need to change the name of it. So it's going to be, let's say, users. Save it. So it's going to rename the table to users. All right. So I'm going to, yeah. So let's go back to our application and let's. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this. I'm going to say connection, or rather PDO equals require, and let's go into db slash and connection.php. Right. So this is the file that is going to like return a PDO instance. Right. So I'm going to create that. So I'm going to my root db. Let's create a new file called connection.php. Right. And let's do so we need to define a string, a database connection string. So let's say uh, db URL, and we're going to give it connecting to a MySQL database. And for our host, it's going to be set up Windows 1 because it's from our local host. And for user, it's going to be app user. Password is password. And the DB name is going to be contacts that we just created. Right, so here we need to use double quotes so we can interpolate. Okay, so this is the going to be host. Actually, it's going to be like host equals host, and then we add a semicolon and say db name equals db name. Right. So this is good. Now we're going to actually create the PDO instance. We say PDO equals new PDO, right? And the first thing that we're going to pass is the DB URL string. The next thing is going to be the username and the password, right? And we should enclose this in a try-catch block in case the connection fails. So we'll say exception X, right? And if there's an exception, we should just say whoops, something went wrong, and let's echo the message for the exception here. But in production, we should not display this information. So you can control that using some environment variables, right? Actually, I do not require that, and it should just return the video if it works, right? So if we go here to create user, we have the PDO. Now, in order to make sure that it's not like it's working correctly, I'm going to change, potentially change the value. Yeah. So this is now for user app use. Okay, so we're connecting successfully here. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to so let's prepare our SQL. We need to say insert user SQL equals. Okay, so let's select. Actually, it's not select. It's going to be insert into the table name is going to be users, right? And let's say the columns that we're going to be adding. So it's going to be first name, last name, email, and password. Okay, so email, password, and we're going to say values. And it's going to be the first name, So these are going to be the placeholders, and so we're going to say video here, pass in the insert SQL, right? And then we're going to bind the params. So let's say video bind param, and say first name. Which we can say actually pass in an array, and say right. So what we can do is we can take those values from $_post. So let's say let's put new array, right? Because there are like the user adds some more keys into there, it's going to fill the because it's going to try and find every plan. Or maybe not. Let's say pass $_post here, right? And see what happens. And, let's say video execute, right? And it should be good. And so let's try it. So code undefined method video bind param. Okay, so let's label it video bind param. I can say that it's undefined. It's right here. Oh, right. So it's taking a string and then it's taking a value, right? What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to pass in all of them as an array. So maybe it can't be done. What was it find value? Okay, so I'm going to do my param. So let's do first name, and the value should be $_post first. Okay, and do last name, and do email, and password, and password, right? I'm just going to execute it. So let's try it again. Video bind param. What am I doing wrong? I typed it correctly. Oh, so this is where I'm messing up. So statement equals, and then statement should be calling the bind param method, and we should execute the statement. So my bad. So let's try that and see if it works. Only variables should be passed by reference. Create user line 13. Variables should be passed by reference. Could it be the MD5 method complaining? Right, so let's see. Press this. Many variables should be passed by reference. Alright, so let's put this and see if it works. Argument 2 cannot be passed by reference. Line 13. No, I'm not passing the reference, I'm just passing the value. like a column there. Yes, it does have the column password. So like, what is wrong with it? Video bind param. Why cannot be passed by reference? Okay, how about this? If I like put this to password hashed, right? Pass that through. Okay, let's refresh. Ah, so it worked. So let's go and see the data. Insert it twice. That's not seeming right, but let's this. Okay, refresh it and refresh this. Okay, so we have this, and the password is actually MD5 hashed. So we have successfully added a user. Now we need to like, complete the flow. In order to do that, what we're going to do is we're going to say, actually, I think we do need to like, close a connection, right? So let's see, video close connection, video closing connection. But PDO is just you open a connection using this. To close a connection is this correct? The reason I'm asking is I'm not sure if I was closing the connection properly. Label closing PHP is okay, so that's good to know. So we don't need to do anything, right? Okay. So now we do need to like check if a user already exists with this email, right? So actually, I want to like move this to a separate function, right? So like if we go to db, let's create a new file called users.php, and sort of say function save user, and I don't think we need PDO here. So let's go into our user connection.php, do dir dot current directory slash connection.php, and say global PDO. Okay, so here what we can do is if the password is valid, here let's delete the data. So the data like so. And so we can actually do this. Let's say require user.php, right? And we need to call the function save user. Select properly the save user post, and like if there are no errors, then we can say header application. Say base URL dot slash auth slash login. Okay, so back to login. So the user was created and we're back to login. And do this. Right, so we do need to check. I mean, it's not going to work otherwise. So if you like go into the save user.php, and before doing this, we need to actually check, right? So let's say PDO prepare select start from users, and this is going to give us a statement, and let's say select statement, next one, and let's say select statement execute, and then we'll say select statement fetch, and we need to pass PDO fetch obj. We get only like an object with properties, not like an array with indices. Okay, so yeah, I think this is correct. And say user, we do need to pass a condition here, so say where email equals email, right? And we're going to have to find a param here, find param, and we'll say email is data email. So this is going to be the unique identifier in our system. So if the email already exists, right, this user is going to be, well, let's do this. Let's say die or dump function, right? So let's see what we get here. So if we go to like here, go to register, fill this up. So we know that this record already exists, right? So if you do sign up, the two passwords don't match. Okay, say sign up. Okay, so it got this from the database. Perfect. So like now let's add something that does not exist, right? Let's fill this up. So this, let's add a one here. Okay, so let's say sign up. Okay, so let's say sign up. So it's going to say false, right? It does not exist, so it's false. So let's say if user is equals to false, user does not exist, so it does not exist. Oh, yeah, it does not exist, and we want to do this part. Otherwise, exception. Let's say throw exception user already registered. So you could like throw an exception, like a custom exception type, and catch it and then return the message from there. But I think this is suitable. So what we're going to do instead of create user is we're going to save the user. There is an exception, right? We'll say we'll do this. Exactly this. But instead of this, we're going to send the exception message back. Get message. And I feel like this should be a function in its own, right? So let's create that. So yeah, I think it should be approved here because this is specific to this page. So let's say that arrow and say message. Right? So let's put these here and message. And then we say correct error. In this case, maybe message. And in the other case, it will be the two passwords don't match. So we just say So this is looking a little bit better now. So let's see if this works. So if we go back, try and register with the same email. Oh, it's not throwing the exception. Is my condition incorrect? So if the user is equals to false, which means it doesn't exist, then we're going to go with insert user SQL and we need to save it. Let's see if it is not false. It should say you're already registered. Please log in. Ah, should do it like this. If they go back to register, fill in the form, say you're already registered. Please log in. Yep, that's reasonable. But what we can do is um, I think this is good. Right? So what we need to do is you don't need to check. But I do want to move this into like I want to move this into like another function to like check if the user exists. Right? So let's do this. So, function, does user exist? I'm going to pass the email and it's going to return a boolean, right? And let's see, we need a global PDO and this. So let's be email. And it's going to execute the statement. And if the user exists, so basically it's going to return something like this. So if the user exists, right? So if it is not equal to false, then it means that the user exists, right? So here we can just do does user exist. So if user, let's say user does not exist, does user not exist? And then if it doesn't, then we add it, we sign them up. Otherwise, we throw an exception. You're already registered, please log in. Now, we should like send an email to the user technically here, and they should verify that email so that we can make sure that it is actually that user. But this is, yeah, I think this is enough for like a tutorial. And oh, we're already over an hour. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, pause this video here, and I'm going to do the login part in the next video, and then I'm going to do the actual application, the context part, in the third part. So thank you for watching, and subscribe to the channel, and do leave your comments. Let me know like in the comments like what you think of the video, and if there is something that I can do better. And thank you for watching.